lot of you know these steps as the Rocky Steps, symbol of grit and determination. Today we're actually climbing them with an interesting twist, each step representing how far we've come in AI. And while the journey isn't easy, the view from the top is absolutely worth it. I'm here today with Kerry Kulp, the newest addition to IntelFusion Partners team of experts. Kerry, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Basha. I'm Kerry Kulp. I'm a founding partner of Velispan, is one of my tech companies. We do a lot of cybersecurity, enterprise mobility, and more recently I've gotten a bit more deeply into AI, as has just about everyone else.
Yeah.
It's something that we're pretty passionate about, that I've really embraced, both from an organizational perspective and from a personal perspective. I think it's a really powerful tool and excited to be involved.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. AI is exciting, but there are obviously some risks that come with that.
Yeah.
So Kerry is here to help us unpack that a little bit and make sure that we all use AI safely. Like you said, Kerry, everyone these days is talking about AI. But before we get into the details, can you tell us a little bit about what AI truly means in our everyday lives? Because I sometimes feel like the term is somewhat overused or maybe not fully understood.
Yeah, definitely not fully understood. I guess we should start with the fact that AI is not new. AI has been around for decades. The first use of AI in a computing environment was in the 70s, so
Oh, wow.
quite a long time ago. What we think of as AI today is relatively new. It's generative AI, and it's built on large language models and natural language processing, and being able to have an AI assistant create content or create things for us.
Yeah.
That's relatively new. That's with only within the last few years. But yeah, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what AI really is. It's extremely powerful. It's extremely capable. At the end of the day, it is still just a mathematical algorithm that's helping generate things for us.
Yeah. So as we said earlier, AI is very exciting. We all love our ChatGPT. However, I worry sometimes that the line between the hype and the reality is a bit unclear.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do you find that balance? And how do you differentiate between the hype and what's actually real?
Yeah, I think AI is one of the very few technologies that is actually, in many respects, underhyped, which is kind of weird to say because it's getting a lot of hype. But the reality is that AI, the capabilities of AI are just we're just scratching the surface of them right now. So I think that the hype around AI is maybe a little bit overblown in certain aspects, perhaps on the impact of jobs in the short term and things like that. But the reality of AI and the capabilities, it's almost limitless. That's a bit hyperbolic to say it that way, but it is really, really capable. And I think when we start to see what happens over the course of the next few years, it's going to be, we're not even going to recognize it, if you know what AI is today versus what we'll see in that time. So I think it's a little bit, in some respects, underhyped. I do think it's overhyped as far as the short-term impact on jobs, on humanity. I think the fear of AI is overhyped. Not that there's not risk associated, but a lot of the fears are vastly overblown.
Interesting. So speaking about the fears, do you see more of that in the business setting or sort of the more everyday life when you talk to your friends, your family?
Good question. I think there is, I think it's a little bit of both. I think more of the fear is on the personal side of things. Businesses have concerns, employees have concerns about how it will impact them. I think most of the unfounded fears are more on the personal side, and more societal fears and things like that are in some respects real, but are a bit overblown right now. That being said, I think in some respects there maybe isn't enough fear in business. I think businesses are, not that we want them to slow down, we don't. We want them to run, we want them to embrace AI and really take advantage of the power of it. They need to, they better be already. If they're not, they're being left behind. But they have to do it with governance and guardrails and boundaries in place to do it safely.
Yeah, absolutely. So as an AI expert, I'm very curious to know what excites someone like you about AI.
Yeah, let's start with, I don't consider myself an AI expert. I think that's a fleeting term right now. I think with AI there are AI experts. There are researchers, there are people that are doing amazing things on the algorithmic side and on building the models and things like that. Those of us on the other side, I think, are developing expertise, but I think it would be hard to say that too many of us have actual expertise. That being said, I think what's exciting is just how transformative AI has the potential to be. I don't know that we've witnessed a technology, at least in modern times, that has the ability to impact our world as much as AI does.
Yeah.
I think when the internet, yes, of course, massively impactful. Smartphones and things like that, massively impactful. We can go back further to things like the assembly line and things like that impacted our world in tremendous ways. I don't think any of them, I think when we look back on this from a point in the future, we're going to see that AI had a really, truly transformative impact on business and maybe more on the world as a whole. I think that's what excites me the most.
So on the flip side, is there anything that worries you about AI?
Yeah, so I guess I'd approach that from two different perspectives. There's worries on the business side. I think there are worries there that we can talk about at length, but I think that those are much easier to solve. We can solve those through governance. We can solve those through a bunch of different measures. I think my biggest worries are more societal, and though I think the hype of impact of AI on society in the short term is overblown, I think in the longer term it isn't overblown. I think we're going to see some pretty major impacts. We know for sure that it will eventually start to impact the job market. We will see jobs that would normally go to humans be handled by AI. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that we're going to see people upskilling and doing other things, maybe orchestrating AI agents and things like that? Of course, we will see some of that. Yeah. But there will be an impact on jobs. And when we start to see how that ripples outward and the impact on society, that's probably what worries me the most. Can't really solve those problems, at least not from my perspective, but we can solve the business problems. I think where I see the risks in business, we can manage those. We can manage those through governance. We can manage those through policy. We can manage those through tooling and tool sets that allow us to use AI safely.
Whether it's art, grit, or determination, each step we take with AI will shape the view we share tomorrow. So from Philly to the security industry, let's climb responsibly.
Thanks, Masha.
So, Kerry, it was fun hanging out with you at the beautiful Philadelphia Museum of Art, but I'm thinking we should move to a different location, maybe something more modern. What do you think?
Absolutely. This is beautiful, but more tech forward would be fun.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Let's go.
And just like that, we are in the heart of Philadelphia at the Comcast Center. Comcast Center is a symbol of innovation and progress. It started with a cable, then came the internet, and now we're entering the AI era. Now, as businesses continue to adopt AI, there's a lot of questions that come with that. How do we balance speed with security or innovation with responsibility? And I know just the right person that we can ask, so let's go and find Kerry and try to unpack this topic a little bit more. How do you balance using AI while still retaining the human judgment component and not relying too much on technology?
Yeah, well, so let's start with the reality of today. AI is really powerful. It's really amazing. It hasn't quite reached the point of human capability, human knowledge in too many respects yet. So we're not quite there from a hand everything over to AI, perspective. That being said, it is impacting. So it will. We will see that happen. We will see that day come where we start to see more jobs being done by AI and humans having to elevate and do things, maybe orchestrating AI and things like that. But the reality right now is that we talk about agentic AI, we talk about those sorts of things and the concepts of human in the loop or human out of the loop. Anything we use that's human out of the loop today has to be kind of low risk. We're handing it things that are less risky from the perspective of business risk, business impact if it gets it wrong. And I think that's the reality of the capabilities today. So most of what we're seeing is enhancing human capability, enhancing human knowledge, and allowing humans to do things faster. You said work smarter, not harder, right? So the idea is really, let's use these tools to make our human resources better and faster, while at the same time moving toward an agentic model where we can allow AI to do more autonomously and more on its own.
Yeah, I think that's very wise. However, I do have to ask a follow-up question because I know not just in the industry that I'm in, which is the security industry, but just even in speaking with family members, friends, there is the concern of something that you brought up to some extent, which is AI taking over to a point where jobs are replaced, where people are replaced. So what do you say to someone who is concerned about that and maybe resistant to bringing it to an organization because of that fear?
Well, that's a tough one. Being resistant doesn't mean it won't happen, right?
Yeah.
So I think the reality of it is that it will happen regardless, whether we resist or we don't. So I think the most pragmatic approach is to embrace it, embrace the change, embrace what it's going to bring to us, even though it might be a little bit scary. We don't really know. To be fair, I say all the time, experts in this particular space don't really exist yet. They do. They're on the research side. They're doing really amazing things. But from the perspective of impact and day-to-day expertise, I don't think we really have that yet.
Yeah.
We don't really have a good measure of how it's going to impact us in the medium term. Short term, sure, we know, we can kind of see what's happening, but in the medium and long term, we don't really know for sure. So I think the reality is we have to embrace that change. We just have to accept that it's going to happen. We have to embrace it. And I think the smart businesses will fully embrace that. Now, that doesn't mean that that's always going to be good for employees and team members. But I think that what it ultimately does mean is that upskilling becomes important. Embrace the technology today as an individual, embrace it, use it, understand how you can use it to make your job performance better, elevate that capability. So use those tools, and then you become an AI ambassador, an AI asset to your organization, which means you're going to be less likely to be impacted in that short and medium term.
And I think what you just said again is key, because if you embrace it and you use it to your advantage to make yourself that much more efficient and then allow yourself to expand your expertise in other ways, again, I think that makes you that much more of a powerful employee. So I think that is really good advice for anyone who is concerned. And again, we don't know a lot at this point, but I think there's a lot that we can embrace and make it work to our advantage.
Yeah. So I think what we do know is that it is making business more efficient, more productive, making people and employees and humans more efficient and more productive. And ultimately, those are good things.
Yeah.
How that translates into impact is harder to quantify, but I just think we have to embrace it. We have to embrace that change and upskill. I tell everybody I work with, embrace it, upskill, learn the technology, learn the capabilities, use it, have fun with it, because it will make your day more interesting without question.
I know working with security professionals, a lot of them are already utilizing AI-driven security technology or about to start. So what would you say to someone in that situation? Could be the C-suite level, could be the security director, as far as where do they get started? What do they have to think about first?
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit already, right? Governance. So start there. Put policies in place, put those guardrails in place, build a program. We talk a lot about AI ambassadors or AI champions, things like that, where you start with a group of folks within the organization that become those ambassadors or those AI champions to help build the program internally. But governance, AI champions, AI ambassadors, whatever we want to call them. And then really it just becomes a question of approach. Do we start with the simple AI chat interfaces? Are we looking bigger picture, agentic? Are we doing direct integrations with our platforms? So it really becomes a strategy discussion. A lot of organizations have chief AI officers today. It's actually one of the most popular new positions within enterprises. I don't know that every company needs that, but they definitely need somebody that's helping with strategy. They need somebody that's guiding strategy. From a security perspective, AI is both helpful on the defensive side, helpful on the offensive side as well. So when we think about threats, those threats they have the same advantages that we do from a defender's perspective. I think right now us defenders still have a little bit of an advantage, but I think that is going to be kind of an ebb and flow. The threats are going to gain advantage, defenders are going to pull that back a little bit. I think what we're seeing right now is that the power of AI from a defensive security perspective allows us to analyze more quickly, identify anomalies more quickly, find those needles in the haystack a lot more efficiently than we can with humans.
Yeah.
On the cyber side in particular, we have a distinct problem with alert fatigue, where our SOCs, our security operations centers, they get overloaded with alerts, and we have a lot of tools that do event correlation and bubble up those issues that those tools think are the most relevant. But the reality is that there's still an awful lot of false positives. There are an awful lot of alerts that just aren't actionable. AI can really help sift through that from a cyber perspective and capture those needles that are in that haystack of otherwise noisy alerts.
Philly's skyline has always represented growth and ambition. And today, we are actually building another skyscraper, which is AI. What comes with that, though, is one challenge. We want to make sure that we do it safely and on a foundation of trust. So if any of you would like to learn a little bit more about that aspect and get a little help from experts like Kerry, reach out to our IntelFusion partners for advice. And also stay tuned for more vlogs. We're gonna have a lot more content coming, so if you have specific questions for Kerry, do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you, guys.